All right, thanks everybody for checking out the show. I got Jay Maldonado on the broadcast today. So you were a radio operator with ANGLICO. You were with the infantry unit, but you were shot, not in the military though, by like a gang member up in LA. So you've got a couple interesting things in your career I'd like to talk about and everything. So I'd like to go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, man, and why you decided to join the Marine Corps.
My name's Jay. I joined the Marine Corps in 2010 from out of Tampa and MEPS. I don't know. I joined. You know, you're at that place of, you know, I don't really come from like a good neighborhood and everything. So, funny thing is, actually, before I even joined, I always said I would never join the military.
Why is that?
I don't know. Back then I was pretty ignorant on. I was kind of like a product of my environment. So I used to look at the military like, why would I fight somebody else's war, or why would I, you know, do this, and just kind of like play the victim type thing. You know, like I said, I was a product of my environment. But then one day, I was at a party and a friend got shot, and it was kind of like, these are my options here. You know, either end up like that, or, you know, end up like some other people on the street and just kind of follow the suit. So I was trying to find a way out, and, you know, I kind of joined to like open up my opportunity to go to school. And so once I did that, you know, I just went to the station and was just like, hey, I don't care what I gotta do, just sign the papers and, you know, just join. I didn't look at any other branches. I didn't look at anything else. I just went to the Marines.
Yeah.
And just signed papers, and that's it.
Real quick, you know, you're talking about like you're a product of your environment and, you know, rough neighborhood and stuff like that. Do you feel like there is, I mean, you obviously got out of that, right? You know, you made a decision and pulled yourself away. Is that common, or is that more uncommon? Do people really just want to hang around the neighborhood?
I would think it's pretty common for people to stay, you know, and you hear it while you're in boot camp, or you hear it while, you know, you're in the military, and I'm sure you've experienced it, to where you go back to your neighborhood and everything's the same. Like, you know, it's kind of like in a time capsule, you know, of your upbringing. So going back to my neighborhoods and everything, everything is the same. You know, everybody stays where they are. They follow the generation prior to them, and, you know, you're starting to see it more now that people are trying to break those, you know, generational curses. But I don't think that, you know, based on your upbringing or where you're from, that you have to follow,
for sure,
you know what's happening around you. You just continue to make your own path afterwards, because that victim or whatever it is, that mindset that you have based on your neighborhood is just that mindset. If you change that, then, you know, your possibilities are endless. And that's what the Marines did for me. You know, once I joined, it kind of opened up my eyes and my perspective to the world and other cultures. You know, I was able to go and, you know, just be able to see, like, you know, friends from, you know, California or Texas or wherever, and I'm from Florida. So, you know, being with other races and other, you know, people from different types of environment kind of just opened up my eyes to, you know, what it's really like outside of, you know, how many ever block radius that I'm really subjected to. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I've said that multiple times to people that we've talked about it on the show a lot, is that the exposure to, like you're saying, all these different backgrounds is one of the greatest strengths of the military. And it's great because it sends people back into the real world with a better knowledge of like their actual citizens, you know, their fellow citizens, rather than what, like you're saying, what's right around the block. Who do I know in this area? Along with, if you got the opportunity to go to a different country, you see cultures, everything from people that go to like Spain or wherever and get to see like these old school European cultures, or people that go to the Middle East and see these like crazy, almost, you know, like nomadic cultures, or people that are living in mud huts and stuff, you know, that you would never be exposed to. And for me, I think it gave me a really good appreciation of what I have here, you know, in the United States and everything that's around me. And I think that's awesome, man. And I always wondered, like, you know, with the whole troubled neighborhood, like a lot of people are, pull yourself up by the bootstrap, kind of deal. And there's some truth to that for sure. But do you think that people get stuck in their ways in staying in like a neighborhood? And one of my neighbors, I'm in a not so nice area of San Diego. One of my neighbors is like, dude, I've lived here my entire life. He's like, I've lived within like 2 blocks of here with my entire life. And I'm like, that's so crazy. So do you think there's not, I don't know, what's keeping people from like seeking more stuff outside of like their zip code, basically?
I think more so ignorance than anything, and not necessarily like in a bad thing, but
yeah, no, for sure,
in a bad way, but just not knowing really what's out there, what opportunities there are for us. So, and when I say us, I mean just people in our neighborhood. There are so many different, whether it's programs or whatever route you want to take, whether it's sports, or education, or whatever, however you want to excel, to kind of open up those pathways to get to a different branch of the world. But I think more so is just ignorance, not knowing what it's like to even want to be motivated to do that, and then also not knowing how to get there.
For sure. Yeah, I think that exists across the spectrum too, when people don't realize the opportunities that they have. A lot of stuff, it's like, just go do it. No one's holding you back. No one's saying you can't do it. The only person holding you back is you just not doing it.
Exactly.
And they get caught up in the questions of, well, what about this? What about that? And it kind of, I don't know, psychs them out so they don't do it. But I think that's cool, man. When you came back after you joined and you came back to the neighborhood, did that inspire anyone else? Did you know anyone else that joined after you that were like, oh, I thought that was cool?
Yeah, I had some like my mom's, at the time, my mom's best friend, she had kids, and one of them was a little bit younger than me, maybe by a few years, and so now he's in the Air Force, and then that kind of like inspired his little brothers. They're both in the Air Force now.
That's cool.
Because I always told them, like, if you join the military, join the Air Force, don't join the Marines. But,
really?
Yeah, because it's just like to me, I think the Air Force kind of prepares you more for the world afterwards than the Marines are like, it's like something that is respected well around by the other branches and everything. But I would say join the Air Force.
Yeah, it's a little bit of more of a civilian corporate structure is what it kind of seems like, and the living standards are a little better. Yeah, I tell people to join, like, it's if they go to join the Marines, it's like you really got to want that. You can't just go and, I mean, you can, but you're not going to have a good time. But you got to want to go and become a Marine to, I guess, to enjoy the the enlistment time. But I don't know, man. After you joined and now you're going through, you're a radio operator, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so after you joined, you go through comm school and stuff, and you're getting towards the end. What did you think when they told you that your first unit was an infantry battalion, correct?
Yeah, I was with 2nd Battalion, 9th Marines.
Okay, so what was going through your mind when they're like, hey, you're going to the infantry, and you're like, oh shit, here we go.
So, like I said, prior to me joining the military, I wanted nothing to do with the military, and then going through boot camp and MCT and all of that stuff, it was kind of like the challenge. I've always been, kind of like a sucker for challenges. Like, I see an obstacle, I have to overcome it, whether it's like, in my life or just a physical one in front of me. So going through boot camp was kind of one of those things where it was just weird. I look back on it and I enjoyed it, and not saying like all the moto and all that stuff, but the actual like, physical strain and, the mental, like building that mental fortitude to, persevere and just keep pushing on, So I think once I got to comm school, which I think I heard, what was it? I think Bear was talking about it, where there was this gunny there named Gunny Orndorff who used to run from his house to PTU, and then after PTU, he'd run back to his house. It was like he would run like 30 miles a day or something. But we would run like 8 miles, and it was like just, again, that physical stress, and then going back and having to do the educational and prac portions of your school. And then toward the end, it's kind of like, you felt like, coming from nothing, I felt like, I'm earning this,
Mm-hmm.
So once they told me, hey, you're going to 2nd Battalion 9th Marines, the Victor unit, I'm thinking in my brain, like, yes, like, this is, like, if I'm doing this, I'm doing this,
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I'm earning my take here, and I see other people there, there was another Marine there. He found out, he was crying, He didn't
Really?
want to go. Yeah,
Wow.
he ended up skating out of the deployment and everything for shin splints. But that's another story. But when I found that out, it was kind of like a kind of joining that path to get that badge of honor, to kind of like say, I earned this at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, that's funny. He got out of a deployment because of shin splints. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It always kind of blows my mind when people join an MOS that can, maybe he didn't know that radio operators can get sent to combat arms units and stuff. Maybe not,
Yeah.
but I knew a guy that joined to be an 0861, and then he got all upset because he was going to go to Afghanistan, and it was like, dude, there's a war going on. Like, you joined a combat MOS. What did you think was going to happen? I get it.
It's called the Armed Forces.
I get it if you're like, oh shit, I joined supply. I thought I was going to be working in a warehouse, and now I'm manning a machine gun on a 50 cal. Okay, I can kind of see that. But when you're in a combat arms MOS, which maybe people don't realize, with you can get sent all across the board. So all kinds of units. It's really a good MOS to get a lot of experience in different environments, because you can get sent to the air wing, you can get sent to the infantry units, you can get sent to 9th Com and go around doing record jackets all day. There's that kind of opportunity. So I imagine, though, that guy had to be in the minority, right? Like, I'm sure most people would have wanted to get to a Victor unit, because a lot of people are eager to like prove themselves after school.
Yeah, most of my friends who got sent with me to 2-9, we were all, kind of, obviously you're a little nervous, but you're excited at the same time, especially because we found out that we were slated to go and deploy. So when we got there, we were already in workups.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? So you showed up in the middle of the workups, huh?
Right at the beginning of a workup. So I was in, because I don't, if anyone knows, it's because comm is considered support, we're sent to headquarters, and then whatever line company needs, that support, then they pull them out, and they get distributed through, Fox, Echo Golf, and weapons. So within 2 weeks, I was actually on my first day of the Humvee class, and they pulled me out, and I got sent to a line company right then. So, you come out of comm school, you only know, the book portion of it. Mm-hmm. I think you're taught on 119 Foxes, which is a Vietnam radio. And
that's funny.
You get to the fleet and you have no idea about any of, the radios that are being, currently used during, that time. And then not only that, the programming, you don't know SATCOM, or you don't know anything, frequency hopping, you don't know anything. And me being in headquarters for 2 weeks and then sent to a line company, now I'm by myself in the line company, expected to know, my job.
Yeah, you're the guy. You're the dude.
Yep.
So you guys didn't study 117s at all in comm school? It was only 119s?
I believe it was 119s.
Dang, man. That's crazy.
I don't remember.
For people that don't know, it's just two different types of radios. The 119 is an older one, and it's way simpler to program. It's like super simple to program. The 117 is like,
you ever heard the Iron Man song?
Yeah.
Yeah, the free. Oh wait.
Or hold on.
Free clear number stow.
Oh
this
no,
is how I load my radio. That's what they taught us in comm school.
That's funny. Yeah, dude, that's crazy though. Like that's obviously not good. Did you get any kind of hands-on experience with the 117 at the battalion level before they sent you down to your company?
Not before they sent me. It was kind of like on the fly type of thing. So I remember my first actual like training op for the workup. Mm-hmm. I got my ass chewed so bad.
I was gonna say probably just getting yelled at the whole time.
Yep, because I started off as the CO's radio operator, and me being the only radio operator in the whole company, I'm brand new to the fleet. I have no idea. I'm a boot, and I'm already getting, the treatment, especially going straight to a line company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to kind of figure out what's happening as it's happening, and falling behind, and then getting yelled at. So I would stay up, every op I would stay up at night, in the middle of the night, like going over my notes, going through the radios, and like in the books I brought and everything to kind of like teach myself how to do this stuff. And then I'll give calls back to like my sergeant at the time and everything, back in headquarters, and he kind of worked me through it. And then, but mostly it was just me trying to get my hands on reading and practicing myself. And then the next day I'll have the radios loaded and programmed and everything, and then hand them out.
That's legit, man. That's what people want to see. That's what leadership really wants to see, is you take initiative and figure it out. Yeah. There's not always going to be like someone above you that can teach you. There's not always going to be a mentor there. When you have a specialized MOS like comm, you may be the only comm guy. That's why a lot of times, and you saw, I'm sure when you were at ANGLICO, when like JTACs or JFOs get attached to people, they become a pseudo comm guy also, because they're always shorthanded on comm guys, and normally JTACs and JFOs have a pretty good handle on how to program and load radios. Yep. So yeah. What was your workup like then? What were they telling you? Like, here's where we're going. Did you guys know where you were going, or was it just kind of general? I mean, you were brand new, so.
At the time, all I knew was that we were actually going back to the same FOB and COP and PBs as the prior deployment that 29 went to before.
Mm-hmm.
So they got redeployed to the same exact location that they were at previously, which was with Kyle Carpenter.
Oh, okay.
So in Fox Company. So we got deployed back to the same exact as the one previous to them.
Well, that's good. I mean, at least your seniors that were there on the previous deployment can kind of give you a better understanding of what you're about to like encounter.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind is like, I'm new to the fleet, and here we go, like immediately out the door.
Just kind of keeping an open mind. There was really, because I got there like right in the start of workups, there was really no like downtime to kind of just like have a premeditated like soak in. It was just take it in as it goes kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of keep up. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's good stuff. When you got to when you were heading out and you're like, this is my first deployment, like what was going through your mind when you're like, oh shit, this is about to be for real?
So by that time, I know it's not a long time, but I was in the fleet we did the 6-month workup and everything. And now by this time I got, a pretty good hand on everything. I know the Marines around me, and you're kind of like already a part of this brotherhood, because, I'm doing the workups. I ran the whole range. I think it's 400 is the company size one, or is it 410?
I don't remember.
It's either 400, 410, ran all with everybody and everything, and at that time, since I was the CO's radio operator, I ran the whole range instead of the separate, objectives. And, so, everybody just kind of like gained that respect for, my progression at that time. And, at this time, I think in the middle of the workout, I got a Marine under me, and who was slated to go ADVON. So, my mindset was kind of changed because he had a baby, and this was during Thanksgiving time. So I told him, I'll take his ADVON spot and, switch with him, so that way he could spend Thanksgiving with his kid and his wife and everything.
That's cool, man.
So it kind of like took on faster than, I anticipated. But I don't know. I just kind of had like an open mind about what to expect, since they always said, you never really know until you experience it, type of thing. So I just kind of just kept an open mind. And once we got there, though, that's when everything started setting in. It was, we flew by helo to our FOB, and then once we got on the convoy, it was in the back of the Armadillo, and like I sit down, and this is just like kind of like the whole time, not really thinking too much into the actual deployment, until I sat down and I looked in front of me, and there was the bullets or the where the impact from the bullets were at, right in front of my face, and I'm like, all right, this just got real to me. So it was
Yeah,
just
dude.
that's when everything started sinking in.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean something, it's always something when someone gets into country, there's something where they're like, "Oh shit, this is for real."
Yeah.
Seeing medevacs take off from Bastion, was like a big one for me for my second deployment. I'm like, okay, we're landing and getting off the helicopter on my advisor team deployment, and at the same time, we're watching. I think it was 4 Blackhawks take off because there was a mass casualty event, and I was like, oh fuck, dude, here we go. Let's see what happens. Where did you guys go initially? So I imagine you went to either Bastion or Dwyer, and then did you fly forward? Were you guys in Marja in 2011?
Yeah, we was in Marja.
Did you come down to Fob Hansen first?
Yep, that was our fob.
Were you there? So within a couple days of being there, do you remember the HIMARS strike?
Um,
There was so I was there because I was there with 3-6. So that means you guys ripped out with us. Do you know Sergeant Wilson? Do you remember Wilson? He was the fires chief.
over at on Hanson.
Yeah, with
So
2-9 with 2-9.
Oh, with 2-9. I don't really remember. Like I said,
You were company level, so
yeah, I was on. I was put on Fox Company within 2 weeks, and then we was on the workups and then deployed. So I didn't really have that time to spend to
meet other people. Yeah,
really
for sure.
meet everybody in the battalion or like go to other companies and
That's crazy. I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh wait, you guys are the ones that ripped out with us. And
Yep.
yeah, we had a HIMARS strike like when we were doing a turnover brief with 2-9's leadership that was on Advon, and got called out of the tent because there was we had a guy putting in an IED. We could see it from the blimp, and got called in and did a strike real quick. And they're like, oh, okay, like welcome guys, here we go.
Yeah, welcome here.
So
same thing.
What
same thing kind of happened when we was leaving, and we did a changeover with 2-6, and like as we're doing a changeover, their convoys coming over to our weapons cop, and got hit with an IED, and we avoided the IED the whole time, and it just happened to be lucky.
Yeah, dude.
Or unlucky.
Yeah, it's one of the IEDs is one of those things you just never know. That's the shitty part about it. And I think the fear that or the anxiety or whatever you want to call it that guys have from IEDs is now going to be how guys feel about drones. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You could just be standing there and a fucking 40 millimeter grenade just gets dropped on you from a drone. That stuff's crazy. So how was the war for you, man? I mean, how was Marja when you guys got there? It was kind of slowing down, but we were leaving. I think we left at the end of December is when we pulled out. So it was kind of slowing down for winter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I think that's when we completed our changeover. That's when our RVE, our main body got, caught up with us. But, so pretty much, I mean, like you said, it was pretty slow for us, for the most part. There were things, that happened throughout the other PVs and our PV, or just scattered out. We lost 2 Marines, KIA, and then we lost, I think, 1 to suicide, and then
in country.
Oh
man.
And then we had 1 shoot himself in the foot so he can go home. So
on purpose.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, I mean, but other than that, I mean, we had, I really didn't know, I think he was part of weapons. I didn't really know him too well. But, I was getting to know one of the others, Lance. Well, I don't know if I can put his name out there. I don't think anybody have a problem. But Lance Corporal Dykes, he, it was actually one of the ANA. They were Taliban, and they lived on our cop with us, and we were training them, getting ready for retrograde and everything, and ended up, going over there, and he shot him, and he was at, I think it was post 5 at the time, shot him at post 5 from outside of the cop, and, ended up killing him.
Fuck, man, that was a time. Yeah, that's kind of when the green on blue is what they would call it. The green on blue incidents kind of started picking up. These rogue dudes within the ANA, and it sucked because, I mean, I was there as an advisor in 13, and it was like for me, it was like I really wanted to like get to know the dudes and like kind of help them, and I wanted it to be like a good relationship. But that kind of unease, that put an unease in the air when you just never know when something like that could happen. I know a significant portion of our pre-deployment training was in handgun shooting, like from a seated position, or from like basically if you were inside your office in Afghanistan and there was an insider threat that came in, and it was a bunch of scenarios like that, which, like I said, is kind of unfortunate. That's crazy that you had a guy shoot himself in the foot because, I mean, the insider, was it before the insider threat or after? Because it didn't seem like there was too much going on around that time. Obviously, there's stuff going on, but
yeah, it was before. I think it was before that, before everything happened, because that happened in February, where Dykes got killed. So, but I think it was like in the beginning. Really can't remember the exact time. It was so long ago, but he shot himself in the foot, and then. I remember some friends, because I didn't know that guy that good. I mean, I know him, through the trainings and everything like that. But I think from what I remember, they said that he was posting pictures of him at the bar saying that he got wounded in Afghanistan.
Oh, that's
getting free beers.
Fucking scumbag. That it happens. You get people like that. That. We had when I was a mechanic in 2009 on our Iraq deployment, there was a reservist that we had who was a real piece of shit. He was a lance corporal, just not good at all. And we found out at some point that he had been riding home to his girlfriend. I don't think he was married. I think it was his girlfriend. And telling her how he had to carry his dead buddy's body off the battlefield and like all this just outrageous shit. And we're like, what a piece of shit, man. Like, I don't know. But what are you going to do? That's the military. There's a little bit of everything in it. Yeah, man. So a guy shoots himself in the foot. We had a dude, an ANA soldier, do that as well. And the ANA sergeant major used to talk shit about him as he would limp across the base. He'd be like, that's the pussy right there that shot himself in the foot. And it's like, oh shit. Okay.
We used to actually have a lot of, like our ANA, I don't know, and I'm sure this was a common thing throughout Afghan, but our ANA would pop off shots every single night saying that they see ghosts. Yeah. So they were trying to shoot the ghosts every single night.
Yeah, or if it rained. If it started raining, they'd be shooting into the sky and stuff.
Well, I think our ANA would just like, oh, it's raining. We're not on post anymore.
Oh, yeah. If it was any kind of thunder or lightning, they would definitely shoot at the sky. Multiple times, we'd be like, oh shit, is someone taking contact? Like, swing the camera over there. And then it's like, oh, it's just post forward, fucking shooting nothing.
Yep.
Yeah. That definitely happened.
Our every time that happened, we would try to get our terps out there, and they were scared to go out there, and we kind of had to like push them. Except for one, we had one. He was a good one. One would always be scared, and the other would, like you said, call him a pussy and just go out there. Which the one that was scared was a big guy. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, and the one that was he would just go out and do it.
Gentle giant.
He was just little, he was like little and feminine, but
yeah,
he was a good Terp.
That's cool, man. Yeah, the Terps are funny. Some of them are great. Some of them aren't that great. It was weird. We had a couple that were from the U.S. They had immigrated to the U.S. like years before from Afghanistan, and they wanted to come back and help. So they came back to be interpreters and linguists and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a good time. When you guys were out, like, how did, you're talking about coming from, you lived in a big city, you're from the U.S., obviously, you've never been to a place, I'm sure, that was like what you saw in Marja, Afghanistan. What was it like when you went out, or did you really go out on patrols that much? I mean, if you were the one radio operator, sometimes they don't do that.
No, I went. I was asking to go on patrols all the time. But the difference, so that, like, kind of like you're asking about like the culture shock.
The culture,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So It was. I'm not really from like a big city. I'm St. Pete. You know, that's where I'm from. It's just kind of like in the middle. It's not country, but it's not like a huge like New York or nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is just, you know, kind of seeing the mud huts and seeing, you know, the how they're living, and going across the wadi and see on one side of the wadi they're using the bathroom, and on the other side they're washing their face. Like all of those things were like wow, this is, they really do this. You know, you hear it or you see it on TV or you see it on movies, but then you see it and it's like in real life, and you're like, you know, it's just, I don't know, it's just like this is their reality here.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they're like 100 years behind, you know, the Western kind of cultures, because you got people out there farming by hand, pulling plows. You know, they don't even have, some of them, a lot of them don't even have tractors or anything. I don't know if I ever really saw too many tractors while I was there. I think it was mostly like just manual labor out there laboring these fields and stuff.
The Afghan people are in a category of their own. We seen this one guy walking across like a poppy field with a motorcycle on his back. You know, it's just, you know, those are the things you've seen, or like, you know, a truck being filled and with cargo or whatever
just
in the back,
spilling over
like 3 or 4 times the size of the actual truck that's carrying.
That shit is always awesome to see. I'm like, man, how do these guys are super efficient at loading a truck. You know, like we should bring them in and have them be advisors to our logistics. Like, how do we fill this thing not just to the brim, but 5 feet over the brim and still not lose anything? Because they do it every day.
Now their actual like houses or the mud huts that they lived in were like indestructible. Like, you know, it could take a 50 cal round and you know it would like just nothing. Be fine there. Yeah, nothing happened. You know. But they definitely, it was definitely way different than, you know, like the Western side of the world, where, you know, every house pretty much has electricity, and, you know, where, you know, water is just, you know, abundant, and, you know, you go to these countries and you see it makes you more appreciative of what you have back home, you know.
Yeah, for real. Did you ever fly in a helicopter at night while you were there?
I did. I think it was actually from Dwyer to Hanson.
I think for me the big kind of like wow was when I flew in the first time, and it was into Marja. It was to Fob Marja, and I just remember flying in, and there was no lights, and all you see are these little cooking fires, like little spots all over the place from their cooking fires and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was like, this is crazy. What is this place, you know? And then you realize like everyone sleeps outside at night because it's too hot, you know, in the summertime. Like they cook outside on a fire. It's just such a wild way, right?
Yeah. And, you know, we set up this LPOP over in the Bari Desert, and just being out there, even like having your cop or your PV or whatever, it kind of like almost feels like it's, you know, some kind of civilization, because you're surrounded by, you know, these people, and you have electricity, and, you know, the generators on your cop or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then going out to like an LPOP, and, you know, you're out there by yourself with, you know, a few people, and it's just pitch black. You know, you're looking out from the post, and you just see nothing out there, which is the same from the cop, but it's just a little bit more real, because, you know, not as much people, and it's just, I could see Lashkar Gah from where I was at. You know, it's just the lights from over there, you know, mm-hmm. and just kind of like surreal. Just
you're out there.
It's like you're isolated in the world, you know.
Mm-hmm. Were you in Sistani? Were you over there on the western side of Marja?
I was a little bit north of. I was in the Helmand province.
Yeah, but Sistani is like there's a Sistani gap, because you have like Marja proper, then there's that little sliver of desert, and then you have like the Sistani, like almost like land peninsula. You know what I'm talking about?
So. I was like I think we were right above, not too far from Treknawa.
Okay.
It was north of that, but I don't really remember. I don't know if we was in it's 2011, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I get it. Yeah, that area was like the busiest, it seemed like, for us, the eastern part of That's where a lot of around that desert area there would be IEDs out there and just crazy
Yeah.
stuff, man.
We
But
actually hit our Vic hit a IED on the way out there to the LPOP.
oh, really?
And yeah, but when we were supposed to actually head out there, only time it rained in Afghanistan, it poured down for like 3 days. Our VCPs and ECP got flooded, and so it kind of delayed us for I think it was about a week that we got delayed.
Mm-hmm.
And then which actually there was already a platoon out there, set up the LPOP already, and we were supposed to go over there and relieve them. So they got stuck out there, and we were on the cop, and so it rained, and finally when we were able to get out there, going through the desert, I look out the window and I see stack of rocks, and tell the lieutenant like, hey sir, looks like there's indicators, and he's like, no, we're good. So I see another one. He was like, we're fine. Next thing you know, boom, hit the ID, and but it wasn't as bad as what it should have been, because of it was flooded with the water and everything and got damaged.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was I can't remember what EOD said. It was like 60 or 80 pounds or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But only like a few pounds of it went off. It was a pressure plate offset IED, so our mine roller hit it and it went off under us. But MRAPs are built,
Were you in like a 4x, 6x, like Cougar or something?
I think it was a 6x that I was in.
Yeah, dude. People don't realize, man. Like an IED that big, if it's performs optimally, that would fuck up a 6x. I mean, it may not breach the hull, maybe, but it's gonna fuck it up. It's gonna blow it apart. Partially because that's what those vehicles are designed to do. But yeah, man, we had a 100-pound one almost flip a 6x over. It went up on the end and then came back down. So
that is crazy. Even then, like at the time, I don't know if it was like adrenaline or if it was just whatever, but everybody in the vehicle was like, "Oh, that was nothing," and and I felt the same way. But you take your the mace and the exam they give you to see if you have like a concussion. It was a field mace, and I guess I failed it by a point or something. And later on, like in when I was doing my going through Wounded Warrior, they seen that I had some kind of damage, the TBI, a mild TBI, or whatever.
Did you feel any effects from it when you got back to camp? Like couple hours later or anything like that?
No, I didn't. We went to the LPOP right after that. We continued on, and
nice.
But no, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any delays or loss of consciousness or anything like that. Like I said, it didn't feel like
Were you like, oh shit, dude, I just got hit by an IED? Like I'm one of those people now.
No, not really. As soon as that happened, I'm unbuckling and, getting ready for the 525s and, the cordon and everything. And what are you doing? I'm like, what we're supposed to be doing, And so then the lieutenant comes out and, he just sticks his head out and they start talking. And then next thing you know, we're setting up the cordon and everything. And
you should have been like, hey, sir, thanks. Good call on those indicators.
Yeah. I mean, thank God that, it didn't go off at, the full amount.
For sure.
But like I said, I don't know what it was, but it rained, a week prior, and
it probably settled that dirt on it too, packed it in, so it was less effective. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, man. So when you got back, were you planning on staying with 2-9? Like, how did that work? Because you just got there before the deployment, not too long before the deployment. So were you going to be there for a while or what?
So that was the plan, and then like every boot, I kind of like followed the stereotypical boot Marine and Marine like progression throughout my career. Well, not throughout my career, but in the beginning, I got married. Right?
Nice.
Not really. I got married to a Marine, and she was stationed in Japan. So I got orders to go to Japan, but my gunny, I think he was the comm chief, was an ANGLICO Marine. Mm-hmm. So he was talking up ANGLICO, but which I still I didn't even know, had no idea what it was. And even after he said that, I could get orders cut there, I still had no idea. So I was going to be sent to 5th ANGLICO over in Okinawa. And at the last minute, the monitor says, hey, we can't send you there. you can go to CLR 37. And I'm like, what is that? And he's like, it's combat logistics written. All I hear is combat. So I'm like, all right, cool. That sounds fun, and go to CLR 37. And oh my God, did I hate my life there.
The complete
I
opposite
hated
of
my life.
Anglico.
Yeah. And he was saying, you can PCS to 5th Anglico as soon as, I think it was like a year or 2 years or something, because I had to spend 3 years there. And no, he didn't have any more room by the time it was.
Yeah, I think it's 2 years at a duty station you can request orders to somewhere else. Yeah, so for those that don't know, CLR, and correct me if I'm wrong, but CLR 37 basically exists to support UDP rotations, right? The training rotations that come through Japan and the ship time?
Kind of. I mean, because we supported so many. So coming from an infantry unit, right? You're on ops all the time. You're training all the time, but it's for one specific purpose. Like your pre-deployment workups, and you're just kind of getting ready to deploy again, or kind of like stay sharp in for combat. When you at CLR 37, we were doing more workups. We were doing more workups than I have ever did in an infantry unit, and it was just constant. I think we averaged like 268 days out of the year.
Like field time?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Yeah.
What were you doing with the
nothing? It was like and it's not even really field time. Like we're out in a parking lot just doing,
a Comex
training and everything. And it was like there was Cobra Gold or a Balakatan, or there was always something. So we're supporting the Thai Marines, or we're supporting the Philippines, or we're supporting in South Korea, or we're doing all of these things, and it just felt like the biggest waste of time to me. It was just like go outside and set up comm inside of a parking lot. Not even in you're not even on grass. You're on concrete or gravel, and so like I said, coming from there's a purpose. You're training to go to combat. To you're just training just to support and fulfill the medals basically, and it's like a complete 180 from what I was used to.
But did you get to travel to some of these other countries?
I did. I went to so I think the first thing that I did was I went to Iwo Jima, which was that's a big Marine thing.
I'm jealous,
and,
bro.
I was the comm chief for all the Marines that went there. We set up. It was a reunion of honor, so it was a little bit more special than just going to Iwo Jima. Reunion of honor is basically we had the Japanese vets and we had the American vets from the Pacific War, and some of them were Iwo Jima vets also, and
Crazy.
They were literally sitting in a field across from each other, just facing each other. And that was like the Commandant of the Marine Corps was there, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps was there, and pretty much we had to set up like all these vehicle control points and these comm points all the way up to Mountain Suribachi. And that was probably like one of the most memorable things that I've done. And we were there, and next thing you know, they're gathering around and everything. And one of these, a Marine vet, I see this look in his face, and I'm like, oh, it's about to happen. Something's wrong. So I grabbed my Marine, and I had a 117 with a 10-foot whip, and I'm calling up a 9-line, yelling at the corpsman to come up, and he hits the ground. And by the time I get there, I get his wallet, ID, and everything. And it turned out he had heart failure on the flight line, and ended up he was on a bird within a few minutes, and was sent to I think he was sent to Guam or something, but saved his life. He lived.
He made it. Nice.
So, yeah.
Man, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's
Pacific. That's like one of those things. On Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
Pacific War vet. And I was able to be a part of that interaction.
I could see.
They awarded me a NAM for that. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I could see how, there's such a legacy there I could see how some of those vets would probably be like, you know what, I wouldn't mind just dying right here. You know, like this is where a lot of my homies died. That's crazy that they had them meet. You know, you think any of them on either side were harboring some animosity? Like, dude, fuck those dudes.
Maybe, but nothing visible. I did see, however, it was a daughter of one of the vets that died. Or no, he lived, but I guess he killed one of the Japanese vets. He killed one and grabbed his belongings in it. One of them was a box with like a razor in it and a picture. And so the daughter of that vet kept it because I guess her dad died, of old age or whatever. Kept it and went to the reunion of honor and was able to return it back to the family of
that's cool.
Killed. So, I guess there was some level of respect there.
Yeah.
But you could definitely feel that the Marines are Marines. There's only 4 times a year that you can raise the American flag on Mount Suribachi, and this day was not one of them. But try telling that to World War II vets.
Yeah.
They had this big flag flying on top of Mount Suribachi, and they're like, tell them they got to take it down. And the Marines tell him, like, hey, sir, you got to take it down. He was like, fuck you, I'm not taking shit down.
Come take it down. Yeah. Come to me. Yeah.
So, I mean, we just let it fly. Like,
I mean, what are you going to do, And if it's that big of a deal, like, whatever. We'll take it back. We did it once. We'll take it again.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
That's what's up.
This is a loner right now for you guys anyways.
That's awesome, man. We floated by it on the Mew. I did a whole rant about how the Mew pissed me off and how they didn't even make it to the top. People can look that up if they want. So I didn't get to go ashore. I really wish I would have. Someone brought me back like a Ziploc bag full of sand. I was like, that's fucking cool, man. What an opportunity to walk like literal it's almost like walking through Gettysburg, I'm sure, the significance of it, and being a Marine, it's like even, to another level,
Yeah. There was still like, old 50 cows still there in the bunkers. There was, some ships that were still sunken from World War II that you can still visibly see from the top of the mountain. And just to go up top to there's a memorial on top of Mount Suribachi, and actually I took my KIA bracelet from Marine Lance Corporal Dykes, and I put it up there as a tribute, and it was something just felt unreal. It was just one of those things where you're walking on the beach of the black sand, and it's like, man. And then not even that, you feel the terrain on your body. Like me, I think I was 23 or something like that, and I feel or I was maybe 22, and feeling the stress on my body, just running up and down the from the shore to the high ground, and it's just like, man, imagine doing this and you're getting shot at,
Dude, crazy. So, what did you get to talk to any of the old vets very much? Like, what were their thoughts about being there?
I talked to a few of them. Just more so, I didn't want to pry into any of, and try to reawaken any memories, but whatever they told me, I was just accepting to it. But it was just kind of like, exactly how you would imagine them feeling. Is just, reconnecting with some of their friends that they were, coming on shore with or fighting battles with, and just being able to kind of like reminisce on not necessarily the actual battles that they fought, but just, the times I guess they had with each other. And it was just pretty cool to see. I wasn't really intervening into the conversations, but more so just listening. And it was nothing really specific about, like I said, the actual battles, but just kind of like speaking with each other and reminiscing on their friendships.
Yeah, that's so crazy, man. It's such badasses, all of them, obviously. Just legends, legends in the military, legends in the Marine Corps for sure. Getting an opportunity to do something like that. And coming to be able to sit down with your former foe, right? And be able to have a conversation or walk along each other on grounds they used to fight on. I mean, so crazy. I was talking to someone one time. I was like, sometimes people from Iraq or Afghanistan comment on my videos, and they're like, really? I was like, oh yeah. I was like, there's some Taliban dudes that comment on some of the videos. I was like, I considered reaching out to one and being like, hey, you want to come on the show? Let's talk about let's talk about what the fuck's going on over there in Afghanistan and what you guys are all about. Yeah. Just to get that perspective, not because I think they're, like great people or anything, but it'd be interesting to hear the other side, Yeah. But yeah, I've always wondered if Americans would ever go back to Afghanistan and visit, like, hey, we're going to Sangin. We're going to take a trip to Sangin so people can see, rewalk the grounds.
I mean, Americans go to, I don't know about now after the withdrawal, but, prior to that, there were Americans there in like Kabul and during the withdrawal.
Hikers. There's people that go backpacking there. There's people that work there. Yeah. So. Yeah. Man, so let's jump forward. After you were at CLR, you said you were with the wing, right?
Yeah, I went to so my idea, I really didn't know what I wanted to do as far as like my career direction as a radio operator or just in any kind of MOS in the military. So I was trying to get, versed in every single aspect of the Marine Corps. So I was at an infantry unit, and I went to a logistic unit, and now, I PCS to the wing, MWSS 172, and kind of get the different perspective on, the wing side, which is ran completely different than, how the ground side is ran. I went there. I was only there for like a year. I met, funny enough, I met one of my friends who just left 5th Anglico and went there too. So we were, I think it was me, him, who's also a sergeant, and then another sergeant. So us 3 sergeants were the only one who had any kind of like combat deployments under our belt or any kind of like combat knowledge there. So we kind of got together and we would normally like set up like training exercises and stuff to teach the Marines on like how to do 9 lines under stress situations or stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
just something different.
Kind of like we were still kind of under the same op tempo, always gone, but it was a little bit more different. We were actually leaving to different places. So this is where I went to Thailand for Cobra Gold, and we it was like 17-hour days that we're working and stuff like that. Setting up comm, and I think we did a couple classes with Recon to teach them how to set up field expedient HF antennas and stuff like that. And I think right after that, coming back, actually, real quick, Thailand is probably definitely a place to go back to after the military.
I was getting ready to ask, what was your favorite port to party in? So it was Thailand?
Yeah, Thailand was by far, it's like hangover.
Where were you at in Thailand?
I was in Pattaya.
Okay.
So they said it was like three hours south of Bangkok or something like that. But there's this thing called Walk-in Street, right? And it's exactly how it sounds. You walk in on this street and it's nothing but bars and strip clubs and just, if you can think it, it's there.
So the stories are true.
Yeah, there were people selling, like trying to sell me lemurs and all kind of stuff off the street.
Lemur? What's a lemur?
Like the animal.
Oh, shit, really? Okay.
Yeah, like an actual lemur, alive with a diaper on their shoulder.
That's awesome.
There was, you go see the shows, where they're shooting, ping pong balls and darts out of their pussy and everything. There's like, yeah, we actually had a guy where they took like a clear bottle of 2-liter and like shoved it up their pussy and squirted all the liquid out, right?
Oh my God.
Took the bottle out and it was empty. She puts it back in and fills the bottle back up, but it's Coke somehow. I don't know. And then hands the 2-liter to one of the Marines and to look at it. But this guy drinks it. And he chugs it. And he got medevac the next day. So don't recommend drinking it, but it's a good show to go to once.
Cultural experiences, right?
Yeah.
You're not getting that in St. Pete.
Nope, you're not. But it was kind of sketchy though, because they said there was reports of ISIS actually, like a few blocks down from where we were. So obviously we're going in town. Not saying that we're in the military. I was a star of a TV show, and the friend I was with was a manager, and another guy was a producer.
ISIS is on Libo there too. They're like, look, guys, this is a safe zone. We're just here to party.
Yeah, this is neutral grounds here.
That's
we're all
funny.
Trying to see the same show.
I'm sure no one knew you guys were military, walking around with sweet ass haircuts and
I don't think we had haircuts by this time. We were already there for like a month or so. So I think it kind of grew out.
I was bummed, man. I did 2 MU deployments on the Westpacks, but I mean, I can't complain. I got to go to Hong Kong and Singapore multiple times and a couple other places. But a lot of the times we got pulled straight to go over, go float off of Fifth Fleet, over in CENTCOM area. So we were going to, they had talked about pulling us into Vietnam for a port visit. And then they said our ship was too buku to make it into their port. So, we didn't get to do that one. I was kind of bummed. I wanted to see what Japan was like. I wanted to see what Thailand was like and all these other places, but I didn't get that opportunity. I've only heard the 2 things I heard the most stories about from people on MU deployments were, one, Thailand. Everyone that went to Thailand's like, bro, literally whatever your mind can imagine can happen in Thailand. And they're like, as fucked up as that is, they're like, as fucked up as that is, it's the reality of Thailand. And then the second one, everybody's like, bro, if you go to Bahrain, you got to go to brunch. I'm like, brunch? And everybody's like, you got to go to brunch in Bahrain. And I'm like, all right, and I heard this from multiple people. And then I found out brunch in Bahrain is pretty freaking badass. So those were the kind of stories I heard. I did get to do brunch. I didn't get to do Thailand, but so did you see any Americans that decided to just live there, like expats? Because I've heard of military guys that just get out and go back to Thailand and stay.
We met this guy. He owned a company or a business in America, but lived in Thailand. So he was making American money, living in Thailand like a king. It was so cheap. It was like, I think when I went, it was like less than a penny for a bottle of water. Mm-hmm. Like you're getting an hour massage for $9, and your food is like super cheap. So you go there with making a couple $1,000s a month. To them, you're rich.
Yeah, for sure. I heard I had one guy tell me, he's like, dude, we paid this guy like $30 and he drove us around for 2 days. He was like our personal chauffeur for 2 days. I was like, what? They're like, dude, it's nothing. It's nothing there. You could just have a crazy time because everything is so cheap. That's
real quick, I have to switch to my phone because my iPad's about to die.
Go ahead, man.
I don't know why it's not charging.
I'll pause it. Let's get back into it. So we were talking before about Thailand and stuff, but I want to jump ahead to when you were going to Anglico. You started off in an infantry unit, which was probably way different. I mean, you can probably attest to when you're in this combat arms kind of environment, it feels more serious because you realize like the job is kill or be killed kind of situation in reality. What was it like to be coming off of 2 like logistics units logistics in the air wing unit and then moving back into a combat arms unit?
So, I mean, and this, Anglico is a little bit different than, any other combat arms unit. Coming like when I was in a Victor unit, it was very strict, and you have senior lance corporals in charge of lance corporals, and lance corporals in charge of PFCs, and lance corporals running fire teams and whatnot, and parade rest when you speak to a senior leadership. Even if you're a boot lance corporal to a senior lance corporal, you're in parade rest. Going to Anglico, it's more like, hey, what's up, Jim? What's up? It's just, and so I was more of that a stern type leader, but also like fair, So going to Anglico where everybody's first name and just like drinking with your captains and stuff like that was beyond me. I didn't, like I said, even though I've heard of Anglico, I really didn't know the what is it called, like how it actually was.
Yeah, the vibe of the unit.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So, but I also wasn't really wasn't really in the mindset because at that time, prior to you know PCSing to Anglico, I was in the middle of a divorce. Um, I was going through, and prior to that, when I was in the wing, I did a humanitarian deployment. I went straight from while I was in the Philippines doing training ops. I was sent to get attached to HMLA 469, and we were the QRF for Nepal when the earthquake hit.
Mm.
So, and then I don't know if are you familiar with what happened over there?
Didn't one of a Huey or something went down, right, and killed the crew and like a combat camera
Yeah.
marine?
So, like I said, all right. So we go to like within a couple of days, we're in Nepal, straight from the Philippines, and there was already, I think it was like a 7.8 that hit, and so we set up on the airfield over there, which is a high point and no buildings or anything. Um, while we're there, a few string of earthquakes hit. So prior, like we're there to rescue and do all that stuff. There was a lot of injured civilians out there. Due to it was like buildings falling. Like you can see the buildings falling and screaming and all of that. So just like any other day, we're getting ready to send out the helos out, and the satcom was going bad in the helo, and it was choppy. It was in and out. So they were talking to me saying, "Hey, we might need you to come on." So that way, just in case if comms go down, like I don't know, I'm not familiar with because the comms inside of helos are different than
Mm-hmm.
it was like, yeah, we might just have you come anyways. So I kind of wanted to go anyways just to experience the like what we're there for, and instead of seeing the result of it, go out there and actually be part of the result, going
Mm-hmm.
out there people. Um, So, they're getting me ready, and we're going to go on the helo. And last minute, combat camera comes. There was two combat camera Marines. They come, and there wasn't enough room for me. So they take me. I wasn't on, but they take me off, the roster, whatever, to get on. And, I'm back in the makeshift COC that we have, and they leave. And a certain amount of time goes by. Um, you know, like in the beginning, their comms were choppy already. But then an earthquake hits, and they're out. And it was like a 7 point, I think it was like a 7.6. And then back to back, there were, I think there were five earthquakes or something like that hit while they were out, anywhere from 7.6 to like 4 point something. And we lost communication with them. And for a few days, trying to get them on the hook. And in the meantime, once those earthquakes were hitting, I think I did like 38 or 40 Kazovac 9 lines within like less than an hour.
Jeez.
So it was just hectic.
Mm-hmm.
So a few days go by, and PJs come, and they go out there searching for them, and it was four HMLA 469 Marines that passed, two combat cameras, and there were some Nepalese. I think total it was like 10 or 12.
Damn, man, that's
It
crazy.
was one of those things like, man, I was just playing spades with you,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit ago, and on a humanitarian deployment, you're not expecting to lose anybody, that you came with. So that hit pretty hard. Carrying, having to, transport the bodies into the I forget what they're called.
Were you part of the honor guard?
To put them on the
Yeah.
flight. Yeah.
Damn, man. Dude, you were so like that's one of those crazy fate things, right? Like I'll take the seat. I got to take this seat.
Yep.
You
And
know.
it goes back to like that IED, with the rain, and now this, and even with my with Lance Corporal Dykes, the guy that shot him, I was in an argument with a couple hours prior to that, and I'm just like playing that guilt trip thing in my head, like that was supposed to be for me because he got pissed off and stormed out the COC, and the next time we see him was in that incident, and it's like, you know, you live with that, and you just gotta, you know, like, try to rearrange it and take a different perspective of like, it wasn't meant for me. That guy was gonna do whatever he was gonna do, regardless of.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, and then on top of that, you know, I'm getting phone calls from my ex-wife saying, accusing me of cheating, and and I'm like,
stress.
yeah. So it's like it's the built up of all this stress that's happening, and once we got out of River City, when the Marines passed on the helo, I called my at the time wife and told her what happened, and the only thing she could ask me was about where was I talking to any females while I was there. So it's just like now I feel like I don't have anybody to talk to, and so it's just like bottled it in and keep it going.
That's tough, man.
So come back and typical story. She cheats on me, and we're going through a divorce. Throughout this whole time we had a daughter. She was born while I was in Thailand, or right before I went to Thailand and everything. And so now I'm PCSing to Cali, the first Anglico, with all of this on my plate and still not really taken care of because I didn't want to start the divorce process in Oki, and they hold my orders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I got there in 2015 during the weekend before the ball. So like right before the ball, and so then I get there and it's like you don't know what to expect. You're like, man, like the stress of all that, and then this happening and meeting, getting put into a completely different environment. And then it was kind of like relieving though, once you get there and everybody's like bros, like, hey man, come on.
Yeah, it's a it's a different environment for sure. I went because I got there from 10th Marines, and 10th Marines was, pretty strict. Not like, I don't know, there was just like a lot of pressure to do your job well, and it was a lot of like people will, I don't know. I was part of the liaison section, and we were always really tight, but it was because we always worked really hard to be good. And I think that fit well at Anglico because that expectation is there, and I'm used to that work kind of ethic, but I don't have to have someone like poking me in the shoulder like, hey, what are you doing? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? Anglico is like, it's like show up and do your job well, and it'll be a really cool, unit and stuff like that. And if you show up and you're a radio operator and you can't load radios, you can't even put crypto in a radio, or you don't know how to set up like a HF antenna or something like that, then it's like, dude, you're dead weight. And obviously they'll give people time to learn. If you're an NCO and you're coming there, you ought to be knowing a lot of this stuff already. But if you're like a brand new guy going there, obviously you get time to learn and stuff. But the expectation is that you learn, because you never know who you're going to get sent to support. It could just be an Army unit. You could be going to JRTC and doing an arm deployment training cycle there with one of their units. Or you could go to Afghanistan and work with SOCOM units, or, a lot of guys did the Georgian liaison team deployments and stuff like that. There were so many different aspects of the job. And as like a radio operator, the expectation is we're self-sufficient. We don't need to go to someone else to get our comm up, fixed, whatever. We have it. We're helping other people because we're the experts, And when you got there, was that kind of the feeling? Was like, hey, show up, be an expert at your job, and everything's cool. And then obviously if you suck, then everything's less than cool.
So, pretty much, I think, that's pretty much, what the vibe I got when I got there. But then I still kind of underestimated the overall, aspect of everything. By then, I was pretty well versed in my MOS,
Mm-hmm.
Even like just being able to move under stress and being able to make things work, even when things were, going to shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like just going there, I don't know if you know Master Sergeant Moran.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going there and I thought I was physically fit, and
He took you to the pool, didn't he?
not just that. Like if you look at Master Sergeant Moran, not really trying to bash him, but he doesn't look, like a PT stud, you know.
Yeah.
But this guy can PT. Oh man, he used to take us out, and we every day we would never run anything less than 4 miles every morning, And so but that kind of just like with everything was just unexpected, every day that I spent there, it was something new, something different, and it was always for the better, even for like as the morale of things, having like what unit has a bar in their compound.
Yeah.
What we, so it was, and then as far as the job goes, there were some learning curves, different equipment that I've never seen, just being with a regular unit, come to Anglico, like the Ravens and whatnot, and having to just kind of learn a little bit about everything as far as that goes. But yeah, it was definitely something that I wasn't really expecting, but I definitely loved and enjoyed the experience of getting.
Well, Master Moran did a really good job of. So I was at First Anglico at the same time. I don't know if we talked about this already, but we were there. We kind of crossed paths a little bit, and then I was on my way out, kind of when you were on your way in. Top Moran was the comm chief, and the expectation for radio operators, especially new guys, like when you show up, a lot of times you show up and you're part of the headquarters, and you are part of the comm shop. And then they get you ready, and then they send you down to the teams to go do the work there. And when I was there, it was always kind of competitive. Like the radio operators and the support guys were always trying to get on a team, So it was cool because they were trying to do a really good job. And Master Moran was really good about kind of just building that up even more so, and taking them out and doing hard PT and making, doing training ops that people weren't really considering. I don't know if they grouped up with Recon or another unit and like went out to Arizona and shot HF comm back to Camp Pendleton, on field expedient antennas.
Yeah, I was a part of that. So we went out to
Gila Bend.
We went to 29 Palms.
Oh, nice.
We was at Camp Wilson, and that was when we did a ruck/run from Camp Wilson up to the Returns Mountain, which I think was like 20 miles or something like that. Something ridiculous. But it would like, those type of things, where we're going up there, setting up the HF and, doing a comm shot back to 41 area, which was pretty cool. Like it's just.
Yeah. Hold on just a second because I think your video froze.
Oh, it did.
Oh, there we go. No, we're good. Yeah, it's just different stuff, different. And he kind of saw that, like, you got to think outside the box. And that's kind of, again, because you never know who you're going to work with. And you have to be a problem solver. You have to be on all levels. And you're not only learning comm, as like when you get to a team, you're expected to learn some of the fire support stuff too. And a lot of the radio operators become joint fires observers, JFOs, and they come in and assist the JTACs and stuff. So,
and that was part of the, at this point, after being in the Victor unit and then going to the wing and logistics and doing all that stuff, and then now I'm in First Anglico, and now I'm kind of getting my feet wet with getting into better shape, and then also like becoming more knowledgeable and your mama was as far as like doing some of the stuff that aren't taught in the books, or you just have to learn from experience. I forgot what I was going to say.
I'll say one thing that's great about Anglico is that you have your comm gear and it's your gear. It's like you're not sharing it with anyone. You're maintaining. It's as good as you make it out to be. You know what I'm saying? And if there's deficiencies with it, then you give it to, it's on you to make sure that stuff gets corrected and stuff. But it's just because it's that small team environment. I don't know. Everybody wants to be not the worst person for sure. So that drives everybody to just be better. I enjoyed my time there. How long were you there before you got shot?
So I got there not long. I got there in November 2015, and then February 28th, 2016 is when I got shot.
Oh man, you only were there for 3 months. Damn.
Yeah,
Fuck,
and
dude.
it was after, I think right before I got shot is when I got put on assault,
Yeah.
and then afterwards I got shot. But that's what I was trying to lead to, was being able to push yourself to work to another goal. Like you said, everyone's fighting to go over to assault, and be put on a team, and being able to be pushed by somebody like Top Moran, who is knowledgeable and uh, physically fit, and being able to feed that to you, so that way you can be motivated enough to push yourself past your limits to be able to get on a team. um, that was probably like one of the most memorable things of Anglico, other than the way we carried ourselves as a unit, you know. But so I was there I got there in November, and then in February is is like, not only were we doing the running, we were doing the pools and everything. So I was probably in the best shape of my life, which actually kind of married up in a positive way to me getting injured in that way. It was part of the reason why I'm still alive. So you want me to just jump in the story?
Yeah, man. Just tell us if you want to tell us what happened.
Okay, so in it was February 28th. I was doing my regular routine. I was on my way to the gym at like 9 o'clock at night, and I get a phone call from a friend, and he's like, "Hey, man, you want to go see boxing strippers?" And immediately I said yes. But then I regretted it a couple minutes later. I'm like, "Hey, no, actually, I need to go to the gym." Because at this time, Top got an email to send Marines to, for JSOC, and that was my goal. My goal was to, JSOC. I wanted to become, like, I was thinking about switching over to, eventually becoming a JTAC, or going JSOC, or these different avenues. So I was pretty like career focused at this moment. It was like the first time like I was kind of clear in my in the military. Like as far as what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working hard to get there, and it's like, "Hey, you want to go see some strippers box?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, dude!" And like,
Strippers
"No,
box.
don't do that. Don't do that." But he's like, "I already told everybody that you were coming. VIP, bottle service, all this and that." I'm like, "All right, man, let me get dressed." So I got sucked
Fucking Marines, man.
Yeah, So, and it's all the way in LA. From San Diego, that's a far drive,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's already like 9, 10 o'clock at night. So I start heading over there, and he's like, "We already have a DD, so we're gonna get wasted." So I'm like, "All right, cool." So I drive my car to his house in Corona. I pick him up, but we're taking his car. He's already obliterated. So I'm driving, and the place is called Knockouts, so everything seems legit. We get there, he calls his friend, and nobody's coming. He fell asleep, and he was supposed to drive the DD there. He was the promoter. So, and I guess that you can only get the bottle service and the VIP or whatever if you had a certain amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
So that was all king. So we was like, you know what? We'll just go inside. We'll have a good time anyways. Go in there. I don't even see strippers on the stage. Like, it's empty. And so one walks by, and I'm like, "Hey, when are you guys gonna start boxing?" And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "When are you guys gonna start boxing?" And she goes, "Oh, we don't do that here." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I got taken out to see boxing strippers, VIP, bottle service. None of that happened. So he started drinking, and we ended up having a good time. Marines in the strip club drinking. I didn't get drunk. I had like a beer or maybe two, and 2:30 comes around, and we're leaving. So now I have to drive back from LA to Corona to drop him off and pick up my car. On the way there, we stopped by a 7-Eleven so I could get an energy drink. And I'm on the phone talking with who's my wife now. Um, I'm on the phone with her, and he goes inside the store to grab me an energy drink and gets stopped by some random dude. I see them talking, but I don't know. Like, he's from that area, so I don't know if they know each other or whatnot. And so I see him put his hands up like this, And so I get out of the car. I tell her, I'm like, hey, hold on a second. I put the phone down. I get out of the car, and I'm like, hey, you good? And he said, what'd you say? Pulls out his gun, 44 Magnum, large frame at that. Pulls it out, shoots me from about maybe 15 feet away, 10 feet away. And I take cover behind the car, and he bolts out of there. So now I'm thinking in my brain, like, I feel everything. Like, I feel my inside swelling. I feel the blood pouring out. I feel the pain of everything. And I'm not in shock, but I'm more in disbelief than anything. Like deployment, the humanitarian, all this stuff is running through my head, and I'm like, I'm gonna get killed in a 7-Eleven. And so I start assessing myself, and I see the wound, I see all this blood is pouring out, and I'm talking to myself now. I'm like, all right, you got to get up, get inside the car. I get up and I pick up the phone. I'm like, hey babe, I'm gonna call you back in a little bit. And she's like, what happened? She heard, here's the gunshot. I was like, everything's fine. I'm gonna call you back in a little bit. And I hang up the phone and I yell for my friend. I'm like, hey Joe, call 911. But he's so fucked up. When I got shot, he said, damn Daniel, like that. So I'm telling him call 911 and he can't even, like he's just too fucked up. So so I get on the phone, call 911, and I tell them what happened. They're asking for my location, but I'm not from this area, so I don't know. So I get out the car, walk inside the 7-Eleven, give them the phone to tell them my location. And as they're doing that, I'm taking off my shirt and I'm stuffing my hole in my stomach. And I had somebody help me lay down. And at this time, I'm certain, like this is it. Like I feel it. Pretty much, my body's being drained of blood. Like I feel, just like a clammy cold, like just flushed in my face, and things are starting to go like in. And I tell my friend, I'm like, hey, call 911 because I'm holding the shirt, or not 911, call my daughter. So I put my thumbprint and he called my daughter for me.
Oh my God, dude.
And at this time, hangs up. I tell him, I look at him, I was like, I'm not gonna make it, And he's like, don't say that. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I felt at peace, and I felt like I was everywhere I was supposed to be at that moment. Everything was just felt fulfilled. And I tell him, I was like, I'm not gonna make it, man, but it's all right. Just make sure my family's good. And as I'm telling him that, a police officer walks in, and he comes over to me, and I tell him, I was like, hey, look, talk to the paramedics, relay this upper left abdominal gunshot wound. My lungs are fine. I'm not choking on blood. It's not hard for me to breathe. I'm like verbalizing all this to him, and I don't, to this day, I don't really know. I'm assuming that he was able to tell them, or whatever. I don't know, but I know I told him that. And so as soon as the paramedics were able to come in after they cleared out the area, they knew exactly what to do. They ripped out the shirt, patched me up, and I actually had to tell them how to find the exit wound, as they're putting me on the gurney. And so they were like, I told them, I say, hey, I think I have an exit wound. And they're saying, how do you know? I said, I feel warm blood dripping down my back. And so they start checking, but I don't know what they were doing. It felt like they were patting me, like whatever. I told them, I was like, you got to use your fingertips to rake it. And so they did, and it was like, oh, and they patched it up. And then
Jesus.
They said, what happened? And I was like, well, I went to go see titties, and I got shot. And that's pretty much my night.
Damn, dude.
So they started laughing and, did a couple jokes. And I just was thinking in my head, like, I can't die, sad or, so just being myself. And
I don't know. That's such a crazy situation. I mean, like, what a turn of events, right? Like, how could you ever expect something like that? That's like some movie stuff that you'd be like, nah, that probably wouldn't happen like that.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, everything, like I was telling you before, everything's on camera. The outside security camera was on and the inside. and I've seen it once before when I went to court, and it shows everything. In my brain, everything happened a lot slower than what actually took place, but everything's there.
Man.
And what I really remember from that night, like when I was going, they was pushing me into the operation room, and the nurse started cutting off all my clothes, and she was a good-looking nurse, and she started cutting off my pants, and I looked at her, and I looked down, and I said, "I promise it's bigger than that." she looked like she wanted to laugh, but she was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then everything went black, and I woke up, and I had already the incision made and everything, and that, I think I sent you the picture where I'm opened up on my stomach, and I actually took the picture. So they left it open, and twice a day I had to pull out the gauze and
repack it.
So and then I was 2 days in the ICU over at USC, and then they sent me to Balboa, and yeah, man, it was an experience. They tried to OD me there in Balboa, but
we should probably talk about that. But did they get the guy that shot you?
Yeah, they actually caught him like 3 days later. My friend was actually a part of finding him. He took his picture and sent it all to his friends in LA and everything, and they located, or somebody sent him back his Instagram or Facebook account, and he brought it to the police officers.
Wow.
And we were able to find him. The police officer actually he shot at the police officer, and the police officer shot him while he. So get this, when he shot me, he didn't get in his car and leave. He had a bicycle at the 7-Eleven. And I'm like, man, if I would have died from a dude riding on a bicycle at a 7-Eleven, oh my God.
California, man.
Yeah. So a police officer shot 6 times through his windshield and got the guy. And I think he got sentenced to like 50-something years.
Damn. What was the trial like?
I didn't go through the whole trial. I was just I went one time for the just the witness portion of it, and I showed up, and they're briefing me. This is when they showed me the video, and to get me prepared to go on the stand. And the defendant's lawyer.
Mm-hmm. The defense.
So he was like trying to drill me, and so I told the same story I just told you, and I'm missing one kidney, my left kidney. I'm missing 3 feet of my colon, and they had to repair my spleen. So I verbalized this, to the judge and everyone there, and the defense attorney says, "How do you know you're missing your kidney?" And I said, "Well, I just went through surgery." He said, "But did you see him take out your kidney?" I'm like, "No, I was under." And I was like, so he was like, "So you don't actually know that you're missing these organs?" And I said, "Well," and then I started, unbuttoning my clothes. And the judge was like, "Don't worry, just leave it on." I was like, "What, is that your case?" I looked at the dude, and he said, "Can you point out the assailant?" And I looked at him. I was like, I said, "The bald dude in the jumpsuit with a stupid smile on his face." That's what I said. I looked him in his face, and that was satisfying, to be able to just, like, you're going to jail, motherfucker, for,
What a weird defense.
Yeah, he probably just had, like I said, it was all on camera.
Yeah.
They got the gun that he shot me with.
You should have asked if you could have that gun.
So I asked if I could have the shirt that I was in, the one that I shoved in the hole.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what saved my life.
What brand shirt was that?
It was a polo.
It was a nice polo shirt.
A nice polo shirt. I should write Ralph Lauren, but hey, man,
your shit saved my life, bro.
Yeah, it was just the right amount of thread count.
Yeah. The absorption was just amazing.
Yeah, it was, but so it went through and through, and it hit the back of me. They said that the bullet was the size of a $50 in the wall behind me. But
did the dude say why he shot you? I mean, obviously he's fucking psycho.
No, I never got that part. There was speculation that he thought that I was part of another gang, but other than that,
California, man.
Yeah, and not only that, they said that he pulled the gun out on multiple people that night. So I guess I was lucky one.
I guess, dude. Fuck, you should have bought a Powerball ticket that day.
I should.
Man,
But you know what the DA tells me after? He said, "Well, at least now you can apply for your concealed carry." I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I'm telling you, man, I don't get it. I mean, there was a kid like not even 100 yards from here, I think he was 14, got shot by some gangbanger, fucking killed right around the corner. And I'm like, I just don't get it, man. I don't get like we were talking about earlier at the beginning of the podcast about being, I know what you're talking about when you say there's people that are just stuck in the neighborhood. You know, I see people when I walk my dog and stuff. I see people where you're like, this dude has always been here and he's never leaving here. You know, he's got like the fucking area code tat. Fuck, you know, just like hardcore dude. You're like, man, I mean, if you care that much about this spot, whatever, bro.
yeah,
It's just, I don't get it though, man. And a part of like a situation like yours, is part of it is probably just a dude's slightly insane, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think he was on some kind of drugs too. But
No, yeah, go figure.
yeah. But I don't know, man. You know, like I said, the doctor told me that because of the type of surgery I had to get, they literally had to remove all of my organs to clean out all the stool spillage and everything. And you know, they said my kidney exploded. It wasn't just like rupture; it exploded. My spleen alone, like being damaged, I could have bled out easily. But I just look at it like my friend was a foot and a half away from this guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I was 15 feet away from this guy, and I'm the one who got shot. You know, maybe it was just meant to be that if it was anyone else, they would have died. You know,
So
that's
fucking crazy. Does your friend remember anything about it? Was the dude trying to rob him or something? Or
no. He said that he was hitting him up, asking him where he's from, and asking what set he's with, all this stuff, and he was saying, I guess that's what my friend was like. Nah, I'm not, I'm not with anything.
stopping for an energy drink, bro.
Yeah, he was a Marine also. Actually, we deployed. That's the Marine that I, told him that I'll take his Advon spot.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
So, but yeah, so when I was in the hospital, he felt so bad that he's now this is when I'm in Balboa. He snuck some females into the hospital and some beer in his pants. Like he shoved it into his pants and everything, and was like, "Oh, we're gonna party tonight," and have all these girls in here. And I'm like, bro, I can't even drink water. What makes you think I can?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? That's funny
And,
though. That's a good homie right there.
I had 3 blood transfusions. Nothing's getting up.
Yeah, damn, man, that's so crazy. Like, I'm glad I've never been shot. I feel like that would be a just a horrible experience. How long did it take you to recover? Like, are you fully recovered, or do you still have issues?
I mean, I have issues. So much. Most of it is scar tissue related,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously there are certain things that I can and can't take that that'll affect my kidney. But other than that, I'm fine. Like a little bit more pain than a normal person. But,
I assume you were medically retired after that.
yeah. So like a week before I got shot, Top Marine came up to me and told me, he called me in his office and he was like, "Hey man, you need to go to mental health." And had one of those talks with me, and I was like, "I'm good. I don't,
Because of all the divorce stuff and everything.
divorce, the humanitarian deployment, and like the survivors guilt from whatever." And he was like, "Hey, you need to go mental health." I'm like, "No, I'm good." Like literally, I was in a company, where the deployment before me is Kyle Carpenter. Like you, I didn't go through that. That's not. Whatever.
That's how we justify stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was dealing with like a lot of stuff. For I guess at this time it was 4 years, 5 years, or whatever. And so eventually he was like, "You either go on your own volition or command makes you." And so I just went, and I didn't know it, but I got diagnosed with PTSD there. And then when I got shot, it was already in my records. And so that just kind of like continued on. And then, with me missing the kidney and everything, and just so much scar tissue to where at that time I couldn't even stand up straight. I had to go to 5 days 5 days a week for 5 weeks, where they're just literally taking like these metal scrapers and scraping all the scar tissue and everything.
Oh, dude.
Sounds like knuckles cracking. But it was I was only in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Oh, really? Damn.
Yeah. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and you know, it was just one of those things, man, where it was like I had to get out. Like I could not stay there longer because it was causing me more damage mentally than it was, like I felt like it was healing me physically.
Mm-hmm.
The first, I would say, like 4 days, I refused to take any medications. They had me on a drip, Dilaudid, and I don't know if you're familiar with Dilaudid, but
I don't know. Is it like a morphine or something?
they said it was stronger than morphine,
Okay.
so it's pretty intense. So every 10 minutes, I had to press the button to get medicated for the pain, and I wouldn't do that. I had family in my, that got addicted to that stuff, so
Yeah.
then doctors were like, hey man, you need to take this so that way your body can relax and heal. So I end up taking it, and one night, pressing the button, like for maybe 2 hours, and I'm starting to feel like this excruciating pain, and I called the nurse in, and he's like, oh, it's not working because it's clamped. And he unclamps it, and that 2 hours worth of medication just
shit.
rushed through my IV, and next thing you know, it was like surround sound noise, but everything's tunnel vision and just goes out, and next thing you know, I'm out. And I remember waking up, and I guess the doctor had to like supervise me and everything, and so I don't OD. I don't know, but that was that was some crazy.
Did you just did you just go immediately black, like asleep, or did it turn into like some trippy ass experience?
It was like I didn't go instantly asleep, but it was like, I don't know, it was like somebody hit a reset button on me or something, and my body just went numb, and I couldn't like control, like it was like I was trying to control my vision and I couldn't. It was like just leaving me. Everything was just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it was crazy.
Damn, dude, that would have been so fucked up. It like had that killed you or something, which it very very easily could have.
Especially my hemoglobin was off, and it was just everything. Like like I said, I had 3 blood transfusions. So
yeah, everything was recovering.
I couldn't even drink water because my intestines weren't active yet. So I was sitting there with a stick and a sponge that's wet, and I could only touch my tongue with it.
Oh my
get
god!
Vitamins, IV, not even a feeding tube. I couldn't have a feeding tube. I couldn't have anything. And I had a catheter, but so this is a messed up story. To me, it is, anyways. Like, I was in the ICU, and one of the nurses come over, and he's about to take out my catheter, and I'm like, no, just leave it in, because I think the doctor, he wants me to keep it in. And he's like, nah, you'll be all right. I was like, bro, I don't want to have to get this put back in. I was asleep the first time. So he's like, no, you're good. He deflates the balloon, pulls it out. I swear, like 15, 20 minutes later, they have to put the catheter back in. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm up, at this point.
Was he still there? Was he the one working on you still?
Nah.
Like, honestly, I told you.
Everything was kind of like, in my brain, everything was moving so fast, but I think because I was in and out, that, everything is so choppy at that time.
Yeah.
Certain things I remember very clearly, and others I really can't.
Man, what a crazy fucking thing. Out of just nowhere, You say one thing to, that's why you see people in the city, like they're cold, they don't say hi when you walk by someone. Everyone just kind of keeps themselves. No one cares, whatever. And a lot of it is the fear of something like that happening.
Yeah.
Because it's something that could happen. Some fucking psycho could just pull a gun out and shoot you for no reason at all.
Yep.
Oh man.
In the beginning of like I said earlier, the first couple of days was just like it was a mental, like, just more so to me than physical. It was more of a mental battle than it was a physical battle.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't sit up on my own. I had to ring the button for a nurse to help me sit up. I couldn't walk or anything, because my abdominal wall, they had to cut through my abdominal wall, so it's weak. I couldn't drink water. I couldn't, I couldn't really do for myself. I had to have somebody
You were being kept alive almost.
Pretty much, yeah. And that was like taking away my ability, just my ability in everything away was worse than the physical pain of me getting actually shot.
Mm-hmm.
After those couple of days, like the first 2 days was in ICU at USC. When I went to Balboa and Master Sergeant or Top Moran and I don't know if you know Captain Cunningham. I think he's a major now.
Mm-hmm.
But, they come to visit me and they start saying, "Oh, this is what did you say? You could have just said you didn't because we had I think we had a ruck run or we was hiking the switchbacks that supposed to hike the switchbacks with Sims and Sergeant Major Leifrid. Yeah. Leifrid. So we were supposed to do that. And he was like, "Man, you could have just said you didn't want to do the hike instead of going to get shot." But, I hear that and I'm acting like I just woke up. So I get up and I'm like, and I look at them and I'm like, I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. I start saying that and I start freaking out saying I can't feel my legs. Jokingly,
Yeah.
They start like, oh shit. Like, and I was like, no, I'm just playing. Like, don't do that.
The humor on both sides. That's cool. That's it.
That's what got me through everything was being able to have a sense of humor and that I noticed the difference in my actual healing and my mental fortitude was have some humor, and then that kind of pushed me. And at the time my girlfriend, the one that was on the phone, she flew to California and she was like pushing me so I can start taking my first steps again and being able to walk. So
that's awesome, man. I mean, again, like a situation like that, you can't plan for something like that. And not many people have been on the literal verge of death to the point where you're like, this is it. These are my last moments, So, I mean, what a crazy experience. I appreciate you coming on to talk about it, man. It's really cool. I wanted to give you a chance before we get off here to plug your woodworking stuff, because that's your flags that you showed me online were pretty badass.
Appreciate it, man. So pretty much, you can follow me on Instagram at its.man.made. You kind of follow my stuff there. But I'm sure everybody gets this sense of like missing something out of them once they get out of the military, and that was a feeling that I've had, and I think to kind of like combat that or fill that void was to kind of do my woodworking and make something meaningful out of it. So I make these wooden American flags, and I try to donate them to nonprofit veteran organizations, and try to give back to the community. Probably more selfish than it is genuine, because it kind of gives me that fulfillment of being around what I left and being able to give back and feel like I'm doing my part again. So
that's good stuff, man. I think that's awesome. And they're badass, too. So people check out his page. Check out mine, at Former Action Guys, at Former Action News on Instagram. J. Kramer Graphics. Hit up the website. And that's it, man. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, man.